everyone. Good morning. Welcome to the Teach Better Today morning show where the Teach Better team gets to join you live every single morning, Monday through Friday at 7 a.m. Eastern. We are in our last week, if you can believe it, our last week of Teach Better Today. We'll be taking a summer break and then, of course, as the team always does, evaluating, asking you your thoughts, and bringing back even more free content for you this August. We have the one and only Todd Nesloney with us, which I feel like is a celebrity sighting right now. I'm so excited. We'll be right back to talk to him. Hey everyone, good morning. My name is Ray Hewart, and we have Todd Nesloney here with us. Todd, how are you doing this morning?
I'm doing great, Ray. Thanks for having me.
Oh, I'm so excited you're here. I'm so excited to feature you on the show. I know we've gotten to have numerous conversations in the past, but gosh, this is such a good reminder for anyone not connected to you to make sure to add you to their PLN because you are doing incredible things for the field of education. And I don't know, you have some awesome books and resources out there too, which we'll get to. Before we get too far in, Todd, do you mind sharing a little bit about yourself and in case maybe a member of our community hasn't yet connected with you?
Yeah, so my name is Todd Nesloney. I have served as an instructional aide who became a teacher, who became a principal, and now I'm the Director of Culture and Strategic Leadership at the Texas Elementary Principals and Supervisors Association. I also do a lot of consulting and speaking on the side, so the great thing about that job is it allows me to continue to travel all over and get to work with people. And then I've written a few books. I've got a wonderful wife and two boys who are twins who are rocking our world at almost 3 years old. So
I love being able to follow your journey, both personal and professional, because you are constantly sharing things the way I like to consume information. I love following real people in the field of education. I love hearing about their life. I like hearing about their projects. And then, of course, I love learning from them. And you have continuously, seemingly, been so committed to that type of connection to your community, at least in a virtual setting.
Well, that means so much to hear you say, because ever since I got social media accounts, that has always wanted to be something that was really important to me, was to show a real person. It's very easy to show a glossy version of life on social media. And sometimes that seems like the way to go because you see all these people doing all these incredible things. But like you said, I've always been drawn to the real ones. Like, I want to see the messy as well as the great. Like, I want to celebrate along with you, but I want to see toys all over your house. I want to see you saying today sucked. Like, I want to see all of that because then I'm like, okay, yeah, I like you. I can get with you because you're real.
Yes, exactly. And then you can feel more connected to them. And then especially when there's big celebrations like new books, new resources, new speaking events you're a part of, I feel like then I'm along for the journey. I'm cheering you on. I'm excited for the audience that's going to be able to learn from you. And gosh, I don't know how you do it between the twins at home and traveling for keynotes, workshops, speaking events, book events. I don't know how you manage it all, but it seems to be working so far, however your magic sauce is going.
It's so funny you say that because just like anybody else, none of us are great managers of our time. We all have good moments, but overall, I think we all kind of wish we were better at managing time. And for me, it's just keeping an open dialogue with my wife to know when I'm prioritizing work over family, and I have to prepare myself to be accepting of that feedback because sometimes we're not always accepting of that feedback, but also taking advantage of every little moment I can just to kind of check something off. And so that's one of the benefits of me traveling is it's like I have that uninterrupted time on an airplane or in a hotel room where it's like, okay, focused, I can get these things done because otherwise at home I've got little ones running around who are very distracting.
In a good way.
Yes.
Todd, I have to say, for anyone listening who might be thinking, gosh, Todd Nesloney, that name sounds so familiar. You are absolutely somebody that has been around the block and has been contributing to the field for quite some time. for those of you who might be racking your brain of all the things that Todd continues to do to better our field, he was one of the authors of Kids Deserve It, which took the world by storm. I feel like everyone in education, if you've not read Kids Deserve It, that is a must. I don't think I've been in a school that doesn't have that on a teacher shelf somewhere, but you've also done a lot of projects since then, and obviously really grown in what you've been able to offer this community. Do you mind giving us a little rundown of all the resources that I know educators are already taking advantage of in most states in the U.S.?
Well, I'll see what I can do. Let's see. So I believe so heavily in following our passions. And I think sometimes when we become teachers, and that's been a dream of ours, and then we feel being led in different ways of like, ooh, but I kind of like doing this, or I like creating on Etsy, or I like graphic design, or I like speaking, like whatever that is, we think, oh my gosh, does that mean I don't love teaching anymore? Or does that mean I wasn't meant to be a teacher? And I've always been of that belief where we always follow our passions. It doesn't mean I love other things less. Like I'm not in the classroom still right now, but I could go back tomorrow because I love the classroom. But my passions began to shift. And so throughout that, that's why I've always pursued those. Like if I feel something pulling at me, I've got to jump into it. So having that Kids Deserve It book and being able to put that out there, that was such a blessing and unexpected. When Adam and I wrote it, we were like, our goal was like 100 books total. Like if 5 years we can sell 100, like then it's been amazing. But the community that rallied around that and the way that's taken off has just afforded me with so many opportunities. And as those opportunities have arisen, I've tried to live by advice that I got from my buddy, Jimmy Casas. He's an incredible author, speaker, consultant. He's a fantastic human. But he told me early on in my career, he said, Todd, make sure that no matter how big your name becomes, that you amplify the voices of others louder than you amplify your own. And in hearing that, I've really taken that to heart because he told me that right after Kids Deserve It came out. That's why any books you see me put out, I've co-authored because I wanted to find other brilliant minds to kind of bring into and share their spotlight. I've tried to do conferences where I wasn't the main lead, where I'm bringing in friends and others and people who haven't had that opportunity. With my Tell Your Story conference that I did for a couple years before COVID messed everything up. That was me bringing in people that most people had never heard about, but I knew they had something great and I wanted to give them an opportunity. And so I think for me, it's finding ways to do that. But whether that is through my books like Stories from Web, which in all honesty, out of all the books, that one is my personal favorite because it came out after Kids Deserve It. And I got to, my publisher said, what are you doing next? And I said, I ain't got nothing left. Like I am so just brain drained from Kids Deserve It, which I've said that after every book now. But I said, oh, I'm going to take Jimmy's advice and run with it. I'm going to write a book with my whole staff. Like a book where I can write it, but I'll feature stories from all of them throughout it and let them get a moment in the spotlight. Then I wrote a book called Sparks in the Dark about building a love of literacy because that became a passion of mine. And I wanted to help others grow that, whether they were a teacher, a parent, an administrator. And then that led to me writing When Kids Lead and just having that student leadership portion of making sure every kid feels like they could be a game changer and have that opportunity regardless of their background, which then led to In This Season, another book that I love that is not for educators. It's for anybody. It's my first book that I was just out there for anybody that I wrote with a few friends. It includes all this artwork, and it's just a book of inspiration and hope during difficult times and seasons of life. And then my newest book is Building Authenticity, which I wanted to write for just people who are looking to grow themselves as leaders. And that's everybody, because everybody's a leader. Whether you define yourself as that or not, you have leadership qualities and you are leading in some way or another. And so from that to my PD, to my children's book, Spruce and Lucy, about making sure that everybody understands they have a place and a role, to my online courses. Like I've tried to provide something that could fill a need somewhere, but had a little bit uniqueness to it because I don't want to be what everybody else has out there. I want to try to be like, this is my passion, but it also is a little different. And so getting to do all that has been so fun, but that was a lot of word spill right there. So sorry, Ray.
No, honestly, my question to you is like, is it hard to remember all the names of all the books? Because you kept naming them and I was like, oh my God, I forgot about that one. Yep, I've read that one too. And for all of you listening, these are perfect summer reads. That's why I was so excited for Todd to join the show before we went on our summer break, because there's so many education books out there. I cannot endorse Todd Nesloney's work more because they are perfect for like sitting by the pool, or taking a break on the couch while the kids nap, or everybody's outside playing in the grass and you're finally getting a moment to relax and you're going to crack open a book. Everything is easy to consume. There are ideas that are actionable, and it's going to allow you to get good inspiration regardless of which one you choose, because they all are so different but fitting for so many good people. So I'm so appreciative you were able to name all the titles. I'm like, holy cow.
Well, thanks. Yeah. I mean, when I look at it all the time, I'm like, okay, yeah, I don't always remember all of the taglines that go with each one of them, because that's a little bit more wordy, but I'm very like particular about book titles. And every book that I've written, except for Kids Deserve It, that one, the title came first and then we designed it. But every other book I've like struggled with, I want a title that is catchy, that I love, that really defines it. And so that's why I think it's a little bit easier for me to remember my titles, because I'm like, I worked hard to try to get that title right.
So many versions, so many elements of cover art. I believe it. Friends, we're going to keep with this conversation with Todd and get into not only his passions for all the content he shares, but something that's on his heart that he wants you to be thinking about this summer as you wrap up the school year, whether you're wrapping up as soon as this week, or maybe you have 4 weeks left. There is still great work to be done. And there's some really good, simple prep that you can do this summer. Just get your mind in the right space, even if it's signing up for a conference that Todd might be featured at. So we'll be right back. Hey everyone, thanks for sticking with us here on Teach Better Today morning show. I already can feel the energy from this episode. I hope you guys are enjoying it, as we are currently streaming on Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, Twitch, and LinkedIn. If you are one of our family members here and you are listening over on Teach Better Talk podcast, we always like to give you an extra shout out as well. Thanks for subscribing to that podcast. Todd, we are in our team talk section, and while I know we have so many things to talk about, I'd love to challenge you to share with us something that's on your mind, something that's on your heart that you want our community here, our Teach Better family, to keep in mind as they head into kind of wrapping up May and into the summer. What do you really want them to take away from this episode?
You know, if somebody's heard me recently share either virtually or in person, you've probably heard me talk about this, but it's something that is so incredibly close to my heart and has become something so important and personal to me. And that is the importance of taking care of yourself. Now, I know you may hear that and right away you may be like, oh my God, here we go. Like, I don't need somebody else telling me to value my time, value my mental health. Like, I get it. I get it. I'm not talking about the bubble baths and the Netflix and all that. Here's what I'm talking about. I attended a PD once that was life-changing for me, where they talked about how as humans, we are trained to value our physical health. We're told to go to the dentist twice a year. We don't always all do it, but we're told that that's what you're supposed to be doing. When you have your own children, you're told to take them to their 1 week appointment, their 1 month, their 6 month, their 9 month, all those things. And he said, and why do you do that? Because you're going for checkups. You're trying to make sure my teeth are okay. I'm trying to catch issues early. My children are okay. I'm trying to catch learning or grow things early so they don't become bigger issues. And he said, but how many times do you go see a therapist for your mental health? He said, probably not at all. He said, because we act like mental health is something different and so out there. You have to wait till something's like totally screwed up and wrong with you before you go and seek out mental health. He said, why can't we at least twice a year just check in with a therapist? And I thought, that is such an interesting thought. You know, at this time, I was still principal. I was in my last year of being a principal, and I thought, I want to see about this. And so I finished out that year of being a principal, and I told my wife, I said, hey, I'm going to go see this therapist. Like, I want to try out what this guy said, because I don't really know. Like, I'm a questioner. Like, you can tell me all this stuff, but until I do it myself, I don't really believe you. And so my wife was like, oh my God, what's wrong? And I said, nothing's wrong. I'm like, actually, everything is really great right now in life. So now's the perfect time for me to be seeing a therapist. Because if they can't help me when it's great, they're definitely not going to be able to help me when it's bad. And so I found one a couple towns over because I didn't want to see my therapist at the grocery store. And I scheduled an appointment. And let's just say 3 or 4 years now, I've gone every single week, whether it's in person or virtual, because it has been that life-changing for me. Just to have somebody, a third party there that I can just vent to, talk to, who's not a part of my everyday life, who can give me feedback that I'm ready to listen to because, I mean, I chose to show up to the appointment. But it has changed my relationship with my wife, my children, my friends, my family, the way I work, the way I communicate, just in all these little minuscule ways. And so one thing I would want anybody listening today to do is to learn how to prioritize yourself. Now, I'm not telling you to be selfish and not prioritize others at times. I'm telling you, you cannot help people if you are not helping yourself. Because it's just like that phrase goes, hurting people hurt others. So take care of you, take care of what's happening. And if you decide to do therapy, the first therapist you may sign up with may suck. Like they may not connect with you at all. And that's fine. I've been to dentists that were terrible. I've been to primary care physicians that were terrible. Heck, we had to try several pediatricians till we found one that we liked and our kids liked. And so I think it's important to remember that it's not being selfish to take care of you. And because I have prioritized that area of my life, I've watched every relationship I have, whether it's professional or personal, become deeper and stronger. It doesn't mean I don't make mistakes. Hello, I'm human. I screw up every day. My wife can attest to that. But it does mean that I am constantly trying to get better. And there's so many thoughts I had about myself or ways that I was communicating that I wasn't even aware of until I was in therapy. And my therapist would say things like, let me repeat that back, what you just said. Let me tell you how you've been describing this person the whole conversation we've had. What do you think that's doing? Let's try to switch this. And it's been such a great thing that if there's anything anybody takes away, go see a therapist. It's life-changing, and you don't have to have something wrong in your life to go see one.
You know, Todd, I think this is a great reminder, especially for this time of year, to set yourself up for success. This is proactive. Maybe you have something in your life that is really challenging right now, and I would love to encourage those people to go see someone. But I really love your emphasis on maybe things are going well. That does not mean you should not take these steps for yourself. Let's get you really in a beautiful spot to enjoy your summer as much as possible, to be able to start the year next year as nice as possible. And I think it's such a beautiful opportunity here to talk about that these practices are not faux pas. They're not things that people should be scared to discuss. Todd's talking about how he goes to therapy every week. I go to therapy every other week. I have since 2019. And it doesn't need to be some spooky thing again because you have something majorly wrong with you. This is just an opportunity to do a beautiful audit of how you're feeling and how you can be better each and every day. I love that we can encourage people, even if that's too much of a commitment, go once a quarter, twice a year, right? Start with something, set yourself up in some way in this area is a beautiful reminder.
I couldn't agree more. And I love all the ways you added to that as well.
Yeah, so good. Todd, I do want to make sure our community gets to stay connected to you because while we are totally out of time here, I definitely want to make sure they stay connected to you because you are constantly a beautiful follow that I recommend for anybody that's trying to build their professional learning network, and definitely somebody that puts out amazing content for educators with that Teach Better mindset. So how can our community stay connected?
So my website's the easiest place to go to get connected to every piece of everything that I do. And that's just toddnesloney.com. Don't worry if you can't spell Nesloney, spell it the best way you can and Google it. It'll come up. But then on social media, 99% of the places I'm Tech Ninja Todd with 2D. And so you can find me there. I share on every social media platform just to stay connected and grow alongside y'all.
I love it. And friends, if it means anything to you, Joshua Stamper is a friend of Todd Nesloney. So to me, if you get the Joshua Stamper stamp of approval, you got to be good people. So if this episode wasn't enough, please let us know if you have any issues connecting with Todd. We, as a team, whether it be myself or anyone on our team, including Josh, we would love to help you get connected to him and Hey, we'll even give you his phone number if you need it. So just let us know. Todd, thanks so much for joining the show bright and early. I really appreciate you.
Thank y'all so much.
Have a wonderful rest of your day, friends. We will see you next time on Teach Better Today. And even though we're wrapping up this week, don't forget we have plenty of support here for you. So stay connected. See you soon. Hey, Teach Better community. Thank you so much for joining the Teach Better Today morning show every single weekday at 7 a.m. Eastern. We have so many resources for you outside of this live stream at teachbetter.com, including blogs, podcasts, and professional development that will bring our team to your school. Wherever you are listening from this morning, please make sure you are sharing and celebrating the incredible educators in this world. And hey, if you are listening over on a podcast to Teach Better Talk, we would love a 5-star review. The comments are always so entertaining. We'll see you tomorrow.